Hello fellow YouTubers, Lad Ladderson here. I wanted to share with you today that I purchased a new welding cabinet from Harbor Freight. It was in the ballpark of $170. Northern Tools had it for $200. I was at a buddy's house last night working on some welding projects, and he had this new cabinet. I'd never seen a cabinet for a welder. It's a small, compact design. Has a big drawer large enough for welding helmets, and then two smaller drawers that can hold various types of wire, nozzles, replacement expendables. I just think overall it's an excellent design. On the back it's got a space to hold your bottle, and on the top it has, ideally is where you would want to put your actual MIG, TIG, whatever welder you're using. And then it has these attachments on the side. There's 4 hooks that can hold clamps, ground wire and clamp, as well as your feeder gun and your cord to your gun. So without further ado, I'm going to get a time lapse of me putting this thing together, and then I'll tell you overall what I think of it at the end. Thanks. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. These components here are the hooks that you attach to the outside of the cabinet, a push bar for moving the cabinet around overall. These are 2 bottle retainers that bolt to the back of the cabinet. These appear to be about 4 shims, and then 2 links of chain to secure the bottle to the back. In a box inside the drawer there's 2 casters that rotate, 2 solid wheels that have a thick rubber on them. If anyone's tried to move a welder around a garage or a shop floor with debris on it, sometimes you have to fight to get over things, but these seem very, very solid, and they have just enough give to let you, traverse that debris on the floor. And then lastly, there's a bag of components, screws, a couple of nuts here and there, some washers. Looks like pretty good equipment. Something that always helps me for a project is to lay out the actual assembly manual and double check the components to make sure you're not short anything. So it looks like we're supposed to have 28 screws here and 2 bolts with 2 crushing washers and 2 washers themselves. So we've got that all. It numbers the diagram, or the type of bolt, so these screws are number 18, and then throughout the instructions they just reference 18 for the position of where the screw should go. For example, step 1, you're going to use screw number 18 to put the casters in the bottom of the box. So just always have a plan of attack for putting together what you want to have turn out right. And the last thing I'll add before we get started is Loctite. Very valuable tool to use for not wanting screws to back out. And here, it's very thin steel that's just been punched, so you can put a screw through it, and the screw will bite into it. So there's really no need for Loctite. You're not going to have enough surface area between the threads and the metal to really make it work for you. But if you tighten it down enough, and the weight's going to be sitting on it, you should be alright. But if it's not, then you just flip it over and tighten it up occasionally. And that's it. We'll get started now. Alright, good news. We have this thing together. Overall assembly, very easy. Any basic person could do it with the knowledge of a screwdriver, a adjustable wrench, and basic concept of how to tighten things. Very simple. Alright, so let's start off. It's fully assembled. It's got the hooks on this side. I've got my ground wrapped around the left hook, the right hook, well, the left and right are supporting the wire and the gun itself. I think that'll work because I'm going to pull the gun off cleanly before I even think about grounding. And then we've got clamps over here. It's kind of useful. They do take up a lot of drawer space and they don't really stack very easily, so it's nice to see them just hanging off the side there like that. So I'm happy with that. Some modifications that I did. I'm a big fan of shelving material. So you go to Walmart and there's like for cabinets where you put down cups and dishes and bowls, there's a material that grips. So I went ahead and cut that out and put that in each one of the drawers. Very simple. The drawers are about 10 3/4 inches, and then the depth varies. The top drawer being the most shallow. And then the part I love about having a cabinet for this is my welder's mask is safely back in there. I hate seeing dirty, dingy masks that, you know, just get disgusting. So that's the first modification. The second one is this. It's like a cushiony diamond plate foam. You know, it looks like diamond plate, but it's all foam. It's supposed to make people that stand in long areas, it's like a standing cushion to make their time standing easier. I just cut up a portion of it and put it underneath there. You know how welders get to humming and the fans are blowing and sometimes you hear some rattling. Hopefully that'll take care of any of that. And it's good to know that my heavy, expensive welder is securely held on top by friction, as well as there's a little bit of a retaining wall that the feet of the welder couldn't possibly get over. Now on the back side, I've got a little pony bottle for doing a shielded weld right now, and it works on there in the bottom. The chain, it's held there tight enough I can roll it around with no problems, and then it's got room for growth with the upper chain mount in case I, you know, get into big shielding and I want to have a bigger bottle. So that's just the overall of it. And again, it's produced by Chicago Electric Welding, who I guess, you know, contracts their product out to be sold in bigger spots like Harbor Freight and Northern Tool. So we'll stop it right here and I'll give you my overall impressions. So overall, price-wise, $170 seems a little steep. It's a very solid cabinet for your, you know, 110 type of welders. You don't need 220 to draw a big current on. It supports it just fine. It doesn't feel unstable when it's moving around. You probably wouldn't want to ride it down a hill, but moving around the garage, it's got nice big wheels. It's a very solid platform. Construction-wise, again, very solid. The screws just screw into the sheet metal. There's no actually threaded thick steel for the screws to grip anywhere on it other than the axle where the wheels bolt on. That's where the only two bolts go. Again, not a big problem. The screws are very hefty and they pull that sheet metal tight against them. Paint, I love it. Has that thick, you know, enamel smell. I was very happy with that until just right here you'll notice the paint lifted off the surface. It's not rusting, hasn't totally broken off, but just the paint kind of pulled away from the bare metal. Not a big deal for me, and I'll let it go like that until I either see rust or I see it visibly fall off. Then I'll hit it with some touch-up paint, probably just some black Rust-Oleum enamel. I'm sure that'll work great. So I'm very happy with it. For a Harbor Freight special under $200, I don't think you can do better. And that is it. If there's any problems with it, I'll give you an update. If you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. This is Lad Ladderson. Bye.